You can't see my Zoom controls, but you should have the same controls on your end.
Right.
So I'm just going to tell you what to hit. I guess taking notes is going to be the only way it's going to happen.
Okay.
And in order to get to where we want to go to, it's share screen, go to advanced. Once you get to advanced, the first item up on top on the left says PowerPoint has a virtual background. Select it, and then you select share. And then next, it opens up your File Explorer. And you have to select a PowerPoint presentation, which is what you said you want to use as your background. In our case, I'm going to use the PowerPoint I just created for Monday's show for the Security News Roundup, which is today's date, the 29th. I'm going to select Weekly Security News Roundup, week ending 10/29, and then it opens up within a couple of seconds. There is that. So it's actually using my PowerPoint as a backup. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, yes, we're seeing your usual security news roundup.
Okay,
And,
you see me now sitting down in the bottom in the corner, right?
right.
Okay. That, if I click on me, you see it opens up this. And from here, if I drag the corners, I can make myself bigger, smaller, or I can pick myself up and drag myself over to where I want to be. And once I have myself situated in the right place, then I can still make myself bigger up to a certain point. That's all it will increase in size. Okay. If I wanted to go bigger, I can't go up any further because that's the end of the screen. But I could drag this thing down to make myself bigger. I don't want to. I'm right where I want to be. And then, okay. And then at this point now, this is where I'm situated. I would at this point open up Screencast-O-Matic and put it into record mode. Let me see if I can do that here. And if you guys, no, you're not going to be able to see it because the only thing I'm sharing is the PowerPoint presentation as a background. So, but that would be the next thing. I would be opening up Screencast-O-Matic and I would make the size of the screen the exact size of my PowerPoint presentation. And then when I'm ready to start recording, I start the Screencast-O-Matic to do its recording, and then I go ahead and I do the presentation. Now I do one screen at a time. So the first thing I would do once I start the recorder for Screencast-O-Matic, I do this screen. Then I stop Screencast-O-Matic, advance to the next screen, again, start the recording on Screencast-O-Matic, record the next one. This is all going step by step, one after the other for all. In this case, if you look at the bottom, you'll see there are 10 screens in this PowerPoint.
When do you edit? When do you edit?
I don't edit until I finish the presentation because the editing is done in Screencast-O-Matic. It's not done in here, okay? I use this as the tool to make it all easy to be able to do the recording, to put myself in the right space, to make myself the right size for that presentation. Because if you're doing this directly in PowerPoint, you're pretty limited what you can do with yourself. You can't do this stuff here, okay?
So now, are there any other screencasting apps that you've used that do the same thing, or is it only Screencast-O-Matic?
My program is Screencast-O-Matic. You can, of course, use other ones. I don't know how they work. I can tell you how Screencast-O-Matic works. And I found it to be the easiest of all of them to use because all the others have tracks. Screencast-O-Matic uses one track and only one track. all the others have multiple tracks, and
Right.
you then have to coordinate all those tracks in order to get your recording. Okay, now let's assume that I finished doing the recording here. And once this is done, I stop the share. Actually, when I'm doing it, I'm the only one using the Zoom. I start a new meeting. I do my presentation within that meeting by sharing my PowerPoint as a background, which is then recorded via Screencast-O-Matic. And once I finish the recording, I don't need Zoom anymore.
No.
So I leave the meeting. That ends the Zoom session. Then I'm in Screencast-O-Matic, and let's go ahead and do that now. So we will get out of this. I'll stop the share. One of the problems when you're in Zoom and you're trying to do things, it's not as fast as it is if you're not in Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Right now it's still rendering. It takes a couple of minutes to finish doing that. You can see where it's doing its rendering, the bottom part. And if I rush this, then I'm only going to slow it down even more.
No, yeah, let
when I
do its
try to
thing.
show you the, so let it finish. Two things I will do. I want this thing bigger.
Ah, you're using your Windows 11 machine.
Oh, yeah. As you can see now, it's easier to see, right?
Yes.
And I will be, can you see the controls where it says edit?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's what I'm going to be doing is edit this video that I just imported. You don't have to, if you're using it on the way that I produce it, once you finish and you close the Zoom, you're now in the Screencast-O-Matic because that's what's done the recording. So when it's there, it's like right now where you will select do the edit because you've done the recording. Now it's time to do the edit. So you click edit. And I'm missing something. Okay. Where you see that search looks like a search.
Right, magnifying glass.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. You want to hit the plus button. If you look at this, the bottom line over here, it's very hard to do anything specific because everything is right together. If I start playing things now. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending October 29th, 2021. If there were a mistake in here, it's very hard to pick out where the mistake is to make any corrections. That's what this is for. You hit the plus button, and then you have one other option down here. This is where it gets interesting. This is at its smallest. You can already see there are some spaces in here or some things that where you could actually get into it. But once you select this bottom part over here, and I don't go all the way out, I just go to the middle one. When you do this, now you've got more detail, okay? So when I start back at the beginning, here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending October 29th, 2021. In 2022, it's predicted that employees will demand remote work. Forrester has released its annual predictions guide in which it anticipates that 2022 will see an increased demand for employees to work remotely. So much so that 30%.
Yep.
Go on. % of the companies that don't support remote working will see their staff resignation rate. Whoop. There was a goof in there. I don't know if you heard it, but I sure did. Will see their staff resignation.
I heard it.
Okay, that's right here. Resignation. Which means this part right here, I have to cut it out of there. This right to there. Will see their staff resignation rates. Amazing.
Yes. I'm very
Okay.
familiar with this type of editing because I ran a business, sound recording business
Right.
for years, and I did lots of digital editing.
Well, this is where you take what's the raw stuff that you recorded, and you go in, and now I've gotten rid of this. I'd say, okay, I don't want it. So now when you go back and you listen to this, see their staff resignation rates rise to 2.5%. See, no more garbage in there. It's gone.
Right.
I didn't
Okay.
know exactly what to take out.
The waveforms.
The waveform, you
Right.
see it in the waveform.
Okay. And
Okay.
so you're able to position the pointer right at that spot.
Yeah, the
Okay.
pointer you can move to any place you want.
Right.
Okay. And then you select, remember you have tools in here.
Mhm.
Cut,
Right.
copy,
Yeah.
hide, insert, and under insert, you have new recordings, existing project. You can insert a pause. And I use that quite a bit because sometimes you might have misspoken and said the wrong word. So if you put a pause where you make the mistake, to get out what's wrong and substitute it with something that's new, put a pause in, and then you can insert, and we'll
Got
get to that one in a minute. That's right below it where it says narrate, this one here. All right, let's just do that. This is an empty spot over here. There's nothing going on. So in my tools, I will do insert, a pause. My default is 5 seconds, which is plenty. You'll see in a minute. Say okay. And this line now, that's that bluish color, purplish
Mhm.
color, whatever, not purple, but bluish
Yeah.
color. Well, that's a space inserted. Now the next thing I'll do is go back to tools and select narrate. And then it says, okay, how much or where do you want the narration to start? It starts at the mark, but for how far? Take this and drag it. And what you see here, you want to keep it within what you opened up that space for. Okay?
Mhm.
I opened it for 5 seconds, and I can just do it for 5 seconds. And then the next thing is, what are you going to replace or insert? When I'm ready, I'll hit the start button. This is the insert that's going into this recording. Hit the stop button, say done. Now you'll notice this is brand new.
Mm.
Okay. And what happens is there's space in between. I don't want that space. So my tools, I go back to cut. I'll go to this place here, go to right there, say okay, because I'm taking out the dead stuff. Then I have a whole bunch of dead stuff in here. So I'll go here. Again, it's cut. What do I want to cut? All of this stuff in between
Over to the waveform.
to the waveform. I can check to make sure I'm doing it right to this recording. Among the many other predictions, okay? Of course, what I just inserted has nothing to do with what I'm doing, but
Right.
it doesn't matter. This is a practice thing anyway,
Practice, right.
okay?
Understand.
So there's what we now have. When I play it, 5%. This is the insert that's going into this recording. Among the many other now, if you really, really want to do this professionally, you don't just insert text. You actually should be inserting a new recording, because if you notice from here to here, my mouth is doing nothing. Insert that's going into this recording. Among the many other predictions.
Yeah.
Okay. If it's just a tiny little word or something that you're putting in, that's okay. But if you totally forgot a paragraph or something in your recording, then it's best to do a new recording of that paragraph or that slide and then just insert, because in your tools, under the insert, you can do new recording, which means at the point where that is located, and let's put it over here so it's easier to see, but at the point where this is located, if I were to select insert and put down, come on, new recording, watch what happens. It now puts me into recording mode. And I can record the screen, the webcam, or both. So if I select both, okay. Problem here is my webcam is already in use because I'm in Zoom. So you won't see the webcam. I can't use it in two places at the same time. If you were just inside of Screencast-O-Matic, you would now have the webcam, my picture over here. And you can take this and put it wherever you want. You could make it bigger, and when you get into it, you can make it almost a full screen. But this is where the webcam would now be, okay? And then you can start your recording as soon as you're ready. So I select both, and it's going to record what you have here. In this case, you'd go back to your PowerPoint, that slide that you screwed up on, and you'd start recording it. And then it will get inserted starting at the place that I selected, which would have been to get rid of one that I totally screwed up. Does it make sense or not?
It does. I've never used Screencast-O-Matic, so these are some of
What are you using?
Well, when I do my simple ones, I just record PowerPoint within the feature within PowerPoint that allows recording, and so that's worked fine for me.
But you don't
have
do
all the additional abilities to move my face around, to enlarge it, etc. That's a nicer feature.
And you don't have the editing where you can take out when you screw up.
Right, but I have some of the other programs that I use for that. Trying to think of the. God, my mind is a terrible thing to waste. Let's see if I can see my desktop here. They don't show them. Anyway, there was one that I used in the summer at that class that I took. And when I see my desktop, I'll see where they have the icon there. So that's the one, and that one does have the several layers where you could put audio on one, video on another, have one start as the other one ends, things like that. So I'm assuming it's similar in some respects to Screencast-O-Matic. I think I'm going to download. Is this free or you have to pay for it?
They have both a free and a paid version.
All right,
but in the free version, you can do lots of these things. The drawback on the free one is, and for most people it makes no difference, 15-minute limit for the recording. But most people don't do recordings that last longer than 15 minutes anyway. Okay, the tutorials, even this weekly security news roundup, it's not 15 minutes. If we go long, it's 10 minutes. So I have the pro version because there are times when I have a long presentation. I record my own presentations. So
is the free version otherwise fully functional?
Yes, it is.
Terrific.
It even has an excellent screen capture feature that's part of it.
Oh, really?
Yep. And you can assign shortcut keys to that screen capture. For me, that's the control and the number 1, and then brings up the screen capture where I can do full partial, or just the pop-ups. And then you can upload it, or you can use it within other programs, but that's all part and parcel. Okay, we've covered cut, copy. You can also hide your cursor, hide your webcam if you were doing both. So if you're in a spot where you don't want that webcam to show up, just use the hide the webcam. And for that section, it'll then tell you from where to where do you want to hide it. And that'll take care of that. Maybe the webcam is getting in the way of something that you're doing. So under insert, you got lots of things. Narrate is plain and simple. You pick a spot where you want to do the narration. You have to tell it where to start, where to end. Always make it longer, the space. You can always cut what
back.
you don't use, okay? And then we have overlays. You can overlay an image. You can blur things. You can add shapes, arrows, highlights, text, paste things in there, and you can even insert a video as an overlay. You can replace. You can add music or sound effects.
Gee.
Halloween. Among the many other predictions in the guide, Forrester says that 60% of cybersecurity incidents in 2022 will involve third parties.
It's cute.
Yep.
That's cute.
Now, I just inserted it right in the middle over here. Like I said, this is practice. Usually what you do it for the whole thing. And then there's a control that says, when I talk, you get way down as far as the audio with the music that you've inserted. And when I'm not talking and there's an open space, then you get louder. That you
Comes
can,
up.
yep,
That's true.
which, yeah. Back to tools. Okay, one other thing you can do. Tools, speed. You can speed up and you can slow down. Sometimes when you're demonstrating something and it takes a long time to go through it, or it's a long delay in between, and you don't want to take 50 minutes to do a video that's got most of the stuff where you're waiting for something to finish, like an update of a program where you're actually demonstrating that program, right? The pause part, you can speed up. So in this case, if you select speed up, then number one, you have to drag. What do you want to speed up? Okay, let's just do this part. And then by default, it's 2 times faster, but you have a choice. You can make it more, up to 10 times, or back down to 2 times. Let's just say it's okay, 2 times faster. Okay, now, percent. Many other predictions in the guide, Forrester, it speeds up that section.
Sure.
Transitions. And you guys are in my way. Move you to the other side. And in transitions, pretty much it's the type of transition. And you have fade, flip, flurry. Well, you can see it, 1,000 different transitions that you can put in, right? and then the direction. So that's something else you can, let's just play it. Say, okay, I don't know what's going to happen. We'll find out.
Forrester says that 60% of cybersecurity incidents.
I didn't do anything long enough to accomplish anything in that one. But if you were doing pictures and you're going from one picture to the next, 1,000 different ways you can do things in here.
Awesome flexibility.
Yep. And your volume. If you have a place in here where, my God, I got very loud. And well, you don't want to get rid of the whole thing, right? You can select the space where you got very loud. And then you can, okay, but now you want to go make this longer, make the volume on this thing up or down. So, and sometimes you'll see there'll be a spike in here where you may have gotten too close to your mic or whatever. You just go over it and you lower it, and then it makes it conform with the rest of the sound in the recording. Or if you got away from your mic and you got low, you can increase the volume. You can also, in the overall controls, you can increase the volume of everything in the recording. Here you're doing it just for as a part of the recording, but in the overall, you can also control and increase or decrease volume. I think that's all the tools that are in here.
Just, that looks great. And I think it's very, you know, I've did so much of this type of editing. It looks just almost like a piece of cake to me, dude.
Yeah.
In this program, I'm going to have to
Well,
get
the
it.
one thing I like is I don't have multiple tracks where I have to worry about how do I insert this and how do I insert. It's all on one timeline. And
Right.
again, the more you use it, the easier it becomes.
Like
Okay?
everything.
Yep. I guarantee you that my current presentations or videos are a whole lot different from the ones when I first started to use this stuff. I've
Sure.
gone back on some of the others and I thought they were pretty good. And then but I guess that's the same with
Yeah,
our
yeah.
show, you know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
show when we go back a year, it's not the same as it is now.
Yeah, I don't know that I like the premiere setup that Ron does.
Yeah, the premier really exposes a lot
Yeah,
of-
it exposes just how, but that's a basic, you know, and if you start using the program and if you have any problems with any part of it, just let me know.
Sure,
Just
okay.
let me know.
We really appreciate your help, Bob. You're fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I will download the free copy and play with it a little
Yep.
bit too. Just
And when I say paid, the pro version is about $15 a year. I buy them in 3-year increments, and
Yep.
I'm optimistic. I figure I'll be around for a whole bunch more years.
Oh no,
So-
you've guaranteed it by buying it that you have to be around.
And they've gotten a lot of increases in the usability of this program over the years. The free version used to be, and free version now is exactly as the paid, except for that limit of 15 minutes in the recordings.
Terrific.
Yep, they used to not have the screen capture program in here, but now it's part of it. So that's
All right.
also included in the free version. All the screen captures I use come from Screencast-O-Matic.
Well,
All right.
thanks so much, Bob.
That's worked.
All right.
You know, that worked out well. Give me some thoughts, and I'll try a few things. And if I have any issues, I'll send you a quick note and let you know what they are. But thank you
Yep.
for taking extra time today. As I said,
Really
I
appreciate
see more of Bob sometimes than I see of my wife.
Oh, that's bad.